What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Why do I mess up intros sometimes? I don't know. But you know what? We keep on keeping on, just like Michigan just keeps on putting up points on the board. 17-3 here, coming to you just before halftime here of that little football game going on, that national title game. I'm sure everybody's watching here. I'm going to have it on while we're recording, just so I can keep track of things. You know, it's important. But it's more important to get you guys good information. Felt like I did that there, no matter what the result ends up being there. Clippers, -5.5. How Kevin Durant is playing on a back-to-back. 36 minutes when they were going to, quote, limit his minutes on Sunday. That didn't end up happening. Coaches are damn dirty liars. It is what it is. But Clippers, Phoenix, hey, I can't believe I'm the kind of person who's now, like, complaining when NBA players who get criticized for not playing back-to-backs are actually playing back-to-backs, but it goes against my gambling picks. So, you know, it is what it is. I want to get away from that, but something I don't want to get away from is the market-based approach at Odd Chopper. And right from the get-go, I got something really cool to share with you with the help from producer Jacob. We also have BetMGM. There's going to be a cool offer that shows up tomorrow night that I'm going to be able to share with you. That'll be enjoyable as well. You can go follow me at Eric Lindquist over on Twitter. I'll have that available for you as well. But BetMGM, still up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Good stuff with them as well. We'll talk about them later. But producer Jacob, right from the get-go, my friend, 5 games, Tuesday in the NBA. Let's get to the picks. This is a fun one, friends, because, well, very rarely when I'm doing this the night before, does something show up at the very top of the positive EV tool that I can share with you over at Odd Chopper right from the get-go. But Sacramento -8 taking on Detroit here in this spot. And Sacramento, they are starting to just play some terrible, horrible, no good, very bad basketball. It's been a little bit of a struggle of late. You've seen De'Aaron Fox a little bit disinterested. They get completely blown out of the gym at home by the New Orleans Pelicans. Just insane stuff that we've seen here of late. And I don't see it getting a ton better, except for in this spot. They're obviously taking on Detroit, so it's going to get better here for a day at least, but we will see the long-term viability here of this basketball team long-term, because it's been a little bit of the struggle bus. You shouldn't really compare that to Detroit struggle bus, though, because that is like the longest bus. It's like a party bus that you get on with your college friends back in the day, going to a lot of people. I couldn't be in a frat or a sorority, or, well, sorority, that'd be weird, but a frat. Didn't have the opportunity to jump in on any of those lovely times because, well, student athletes, we weren't allowed to over at Iowa State University. Good stuff. Not good as Halliburton. Look bad tonight. Anywho, in this spot specifically, you know what you're running into. You're running into just a terrible basketball team on the Detroit side. And Jalen Duren, Lord Bojan, we respect them. Oh my God, do we not go out of our way to commend them. But one thing I do want to point out, friends, oddchopper.com. Producer Jacob, let's fire it up here. The top play on the board currently in our model. You go to the all odds section. You can change the state up in that top right corner. But Domantas Sabonis, under 7.5 assists, has a +115 odds to it. Now, true odds, you can see on the side of your screen where it says +102. That is it's basically taking all of the sharp sports books and a lot of the public sports books, and it's combining it to find what is that true exact number at a break-even spot. +102. So you're getting 13 cents of value here going to Domantas Sabonis. Grades out with a 6% expected value. And then the OS rating to go with it, friends. You can shop for the best book that you have access to. This one is ESPN. You have DraftKings, BetMGM, our friends, and Bet365, all of them better than that +102 number you're looking at, and +105 points bet. That would be a much worse bet there when you're talking 5-10 cents worse than the other available books. But overall, friends, there's no doubt that at +115, Domantas Sabonis under 7.5, when you compare it to some of the sharper sports books that might be on the right side of your screen, you run into a number that you want to take advantage of. So my first play of the day, as long as you're getting this +115 number, under 7.5 assists for Domantas Sabonis. Great. Phenomenal work there by producer Jacob right from the get-go. And if you guys want to sign up for Odd Chopper, here is how. You get an opportunity, friends. $14.95 for the weekly, $49.95 for the monthly. You can sign up down at the link below. And again, the positive EV tool is just one amazing characteristic of it. It is the main characteristic of Odd Chopper. And again, the very top of the model, showing under 7.5 assists there for Domantas Sabonis. When you start grading out from a projection standpoint, looks phenomenal as well. But you know what? Books are doing that for you. You can compare. They want your business. They are trying to have aggressive numbers changing there throughout the day, and things will change. That number might not be plus 115 when you take advantage of it tomorrow. There could be injuries or things that change throughout. The NBA, it is a moving amoeba. It is a thing that is constantly changing. And if you want to be able to attack it at the exact moment that you have access to the numbers, $14.95 for the week is a ridiculous deal. Oh, and by the way, you'll also be able to ask me about those plays in the premium Discord because you'll have access to that too. And when you use promo code Lindy, 20% off, friends. Yes, get everything over at OddsShopper down at the link below. Amazing stuff. Again, $15 for the week becomes $12. $50 for the month becomes $42 for your first month using promo code LINDY. Look at that. I can spell. Let's continue on with the picks. Next up, my Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Orlando Magic, -4.5 here in this spot. And I think this one is a little bit more clear cut than that of what we're looking at here on the previous game. Again, the OS Premium tool, it can be as simple as clicking and sorting the buttons. But this one, friends, this comes from the help of Stochastic and myself putting together some projections and having an opportunity to compare it to the odds and find a true odds number that I believe in. And this, friends, is going to be an awesome opportunity here to jump on two plays. First off, let's talk Orlando. Franz Wagner, he's out yet again here. Gigantic omission from this lineup. They do get Markelle Fultz back, although I hated what we saw from the 15 minutes of him. Looked a little bit out of sorts. And my big problem from that entire game, 0 for 4 from the free throw line. He had a little bit of that stutter coming back. And I don't even want to talk about it because as a golfer, we don't talk about it. We know what that feeling is, where things look weird and it feels weird. He has the... Just saying, 0 for 4 from the line. Not what you were looking for here for Markelle Fultz. He's now, Still a 75% free throw shooter here over the course of the season. 0 for 4. Didn't look pretty. Anywho, the Minnesota side, friends, they're not missing anybody. It's helpful. Again, why is this -4.5? I get it. Paolo Banchero has been on an absolute tear and tweeted it out. I don't think people are talking enough about him, but have you seen how many minutes he's played of late? 45, 41, 45, resulting in 43, 32, 35. This is not sustainable. This is not something you want Paolo Banchero to do. Going out to play 40 minutes a night. Now, that Denver game was awesome. It was, 2 days removed from the Sacramento game. That was one of the more appealing games I've seen all season long. 43, 4, and 5 for Paolo Banchero. Ridiculous outlook. But you know what? Minnesota can give him lots of defensive looks. And if you don't have Jalen Suggs knocking down shots, if you don't have another go-to guy on the floor, which they really don't, Caleb Houston, sorry. 25 points last time out against Atlanta. I think that's more damning of Atlanta than what it is here on the other side. And now you're taking on Minnesota. I got this thing closer in the 6.5 type region. So -4.5, I like it there. But I think you might also want to pair it with the under of 29.5 points for Paolo Banchero. His failure is more than likely to the behoovement of the Minnesota Timberwolves. How about that for a word of the day? Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Anyway, I like both those plays, so play them. Parlay them if you feel, but I'm going to play them individually. Next game, producer Jacob. Probably the most disturbing, disgusting, awful spot one could run into. However, Anthony Simons, very happy with him here over on the old X as we were firing up some cards for the people. Anthony Simons goes completely ballistic last time out against Brooklyn. Really fun to watch. 45 minutes overtime game. Puts up 38, 4, and 11. That seems good. It's because it is good. You know what else they have in Portland? Absolutely nothing. Now, DeAndre Ayton, he's doubtful. Going to be out again. But one big change that's existed here from the front court perspective, Robert Williams out at the very beginning of this season. They have Jabari Walker, who's going to be questionable. They really need him back. But you now have a fractured wrist here for a couple of different dudes. Moses Brown ends up being out, undergoing surgery here. That's going to force a very uncomfortable front court situation. Abu Baji, obviously, is paired up against Hartenstein. Hartenstein's not out there creating offense for himself, one of the lower usage starters in the entire NBA, but 36 minutes of a very capable center who's then able to rotate and do smart things and do smart basketball things for his team. Not helpful to have an absolute zero out there offensively. So Jabari Parker, somebody that they need to get back out on the floor. And Jeremy Grant pairing up against Julius Randle. That should be entertaining from a couple of years ago. Not so much entertaining in the year of our Lord 2024. So Yeah, I do think that this is one of those spots where if you made me do anything, I will just take the points 12. Considering what Simons is capable of, I'm sure Portland tries to just up the variance of this game. You have Scoot Henderson starting to play somewhat competently. You have Malcolm Brogdon and Shaden Sharp off the bench. So whatever. But this is the Knicks team. It's just so hard to pull the trigger here. Plus 12. I'm leaning that direction, but it's not grading out all that well. Let's talk a little Memphis. Walking in Memphis, except for we're actually in Dallas. Plus 5 here, 236.5 total. Haven't had a lot of totals here on the old slate here recently, and this is yet another one where it's like, hey, Dallas, they're playing way up in pace compared to previous seasons where they've been dead last with Luka. Changing the way he's playing basketball a little bit alongside Kyrie Irving. Good decision-making. 100.8 possessions per 48 minutes, 7th in the NBA. Offensively, they're great. Top 10 in terms of adjusted offensive rating, but just a defensive rating down there at 22nd. Again, this total grades out decently again. And you get Ja Morant. You play some of the side-by-side numbers. They're offensively going to look so much better with him at the helm. They were all the way down to second to last in the NBA in adjusted offensive rating. Again, that's over an entire season sample size of which Ja has not been there a whole lot. So I have to say, I don't have an absolute metric ton that I want to go to in this spot. So I'm going to talk about a number that I think is going to show up. It's perceived value that could be in the future. Kyrie Irving was at 22.5 points. And once that number moved to that the other day, even alongside Luka Doncic, I just had to fire that up for the people. Now, Luka, he's expected to play here. He's probable. You have a number of these other goobers on the Dallas side. Derek Lively, Dante Exum continuing to be out. But Kyrie Irving averages 23.5 here on the season. That's where I'm setting the baseline on this purely because I think playing alongside Luka, that's going to be kind of where we get his break-even type number at. 23.5, I want more of in a matchup against Memphis because they don't bring a lot defensively to the table either. I talked about how I expect them to improve offensively for sure. But yeah, they've been top 10 adjusted defensive rating, but like the pace, middle of the road, along with the fact that like a lot of these Memphis guys are just, they're not going to be playing that kind of defense. You have Jaren Jackson Jr. questionable. Would love to give one of the best defensive players in the entire NBA off the floor. And Santi Aldama going to be out again. Luke Kennard starting to play more minutes. Did sneak into that starting lineup. Played 20 and 22 the last two. Every minute he's on a floor is going to be better for Kyrie Irving. I'm just telling you, there are opportunities for him to still get you a bucket along the way. And again, Ja Morant, not going to be the most defensively inclined guy out there. Yeah, you can rack up some steals from time to time, but it definitely changes your baseline as you're starting to look at Memphis. I expect them to go up in pace. I expect them to get worse defensively, and I expect them to get way, way, way better offensively. Changes the complexion for Kyrie Irving's projection for me. Over 23.5 points. I'm calling it a lean because, again, this line is not out. This is a break-even minus 110 assumption from the fact that it was 22.5 last game. Books usually will move that a point or two. Maybe it's 24.5. Maybe it's 25.5, and I really have to reconsider life. But anything up to 24.5, assuming minus 110, I'd be happy with. Again, I'm going with this average number simply for the fact that it makes life easier. Also makes life easier having multiple sports books. Let's talk BetMGM before the last game of the night. Friends, claim up to $1,500 in bonus bets down at the link below when you sign up for BetMGM. You have your DraftKings, you have your FanDuel, you have your Caesars, you have your Bet365s if you have it available in your state. Great sportsbook. The whole idea is to have multiple sportsbooks so you can sign up, friends, and take advantage of the best number. That is utilizing that market-based approach. Talked about all the different sports books that had under 7.5 listed there for Domantas Sabonis. BetMGM, if you had access to that and you didn't have access to ESPN, well, guess what? You found yourself an awesome opportunity to make yourself some money with a positive EV bet. And that is the name of the game. You'll also get 2 months of OddsShopper tools in Discord when you sign up for this offer. And yes, there will be an amazing BetMGM offer. You know, we'll have different offers rotating in from time to time, but taking advantage now gets you 2 months of OddsShopper tools plus Discord access. No questions asked. Jump into that Discord. Check out that premium EV tool. Check out the parlay builder, the fantasy optimizer if you only have draft or if you only have a prize picks and underdog available in your state. So great opportunities to make some money with the help of OddsShopper, but sign up for BetMGM when you do. Get yourself access. Only if you're 21 and over. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back to the picks we go. Yeah, we're going to fire this. Toronto plus 5.5 taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. 231.5 total. I will say the total, I could probably talk myself into an under here, but I won't be, because there's something that I think I'm exponentially more interested in. That is overs on my boy. You should know by now. Emmanuel quickly unleashed here in purple and, well, they're kind of like black. It's not gold. They're playing the purple and gold. We know that. But Emmanuel quickly is quickly becoming that dude. And hey, RJ Barrett, he loves Canada. Oh, nice to be back up there up north. I'm going to go 36 minutes, scored 37, 6 and 6. Beat up on them Golden State Warriors, yeah? Put on the snowshoes, go hiking. Except for that was in fucking Golden State, so it doesn't really apply. Except for, I will say, it's not very warm in the Bay. I will throw that out there. Frickin' freezing, Mr. Bigglesworth, whenever you go up there. Even in the summer. I always say this about San Francisco baseball games. Mark Twain did say the coldest winter I ever spent was this summer in San Francisco. I think it's true. Why do people... Anyway, RJ Barrett, 36 minutes. Beautiful to see, 37, 6 and 6. But I want to talk about Emmanuel quickly because he is starting to emerge. Only had to play 26 minutes. They ended up reserving him back. He ends up going 9, 10, and 5. Looked great the entire way. He's looked great since his addition here to this Toronto lineup. In fact, what is that now? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 road games that they played here in a row. And, well, they won 2 of them on the road in Memphis with John Morant, on the road in Golden State with everybody, and they just suck, except for Draymond Green's going to get back here eventually now. It's whatever. Anyway, Emmanuel quickly, friends, is just going to be that dude, and I'm going to be paying attention to his props, but we don't have those yet. But we do have +5.5. There are some floundering teams across the association right now. You get those rumblings in Milwaukee. You hear whispers of issues going on here or there or everywhere. Golden State. But the Lakers. If you take out the in-season tournament, friends, it has been an absolute stone-cold, awful, no-good, terrible disaster. They sort of righted the ship the other day, finding a way to beat the Clippers on Sunday. But now you're facing Toronto here on Tuesday. You have a dinged-up Rui Hachimura who will not be playing. He is upgraded to doubtful. I don't know how that's an upgrade, but we will find out if he gets upgraded to questionable. But regardless, won't be out there for a whole hell of a lot. LeBron James questionable. You know by now that usually is tomfoolery. But this is just a team that hasn't been cohesive that now is going to more minutes of D'Angelo Russell to try to save them. 31 minutes against the Clippers. That is not the recipe for success if you're trying to win basketball games long-term. Now, it might be for a night here or a night there, but Emmanuel quickly is a great defender. He is also a great offensive player. Reminds me of Dennis Schroeder, who's also on this Toronto team and probably has a little revenge in his heart. Although, as much as I bet on Dennis Schroeder this season and was talking about a lot of his numbers and assist rates, yeah, he's still finding ways to play 29, 32, 28 minutes. Works nicely in conjunction with quickly. It's just a front court that, Toronto, even without Jakob Poeltl, I'm kind of interested to see what they do offensively because Chris Boucher, Thaddeus Young, they're not zeros in the NBA. And I think offensively, yeah, they're going to have some serious problems. Pascal Siakam is going to have his hands full with Anthony Davis. But overall, kind of excited to see this game. Just from the fact that maybe there is a little bit more offense played than I project. Again, I do have this around like a 226 and a half total still with the baseline. And that's just because the backcourt depth, I value so much more here for Toronto with the addition of Emmanuel quickly and Dennis Schroeder off the bench and RJ Barrett if he can do whatever he just did and Gary Trent. Then what I look at here on the Lakers side, Austin Reeves, yes, really like him as an offensive piece. Not the best defender on this planet. So, friends, we're locking Toronto +5.5. This is just a number that I like, and I also wanted you to know Emmanuel quickly something or another is probably going to make my card because it's made my card every time he's rolled out here. These numbers keep getting higher. Can it get much higher? Anyway, there was a lot of singing and weirdness in this entire thing, and the whole point is the Toronto, my favorite play by far on Tuesday. If they don't, maybe I have to sprinkle some money line. If they don't cover, I will be in shambles though. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. You know what to do. Go to that comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays that exist here on the board for our lovely Tuesday slate. 5 games, pretty quick and simple, but hey, had a couple more plays than I was even expecting to show up there. Talk through the process of a couple of those plays. Hopefully you enjoyed that as well. Thank you, producer Jacob. I'm going to go watch the end of this football game. Good stuff, friends. But I'll see you back here for a massive slate on Wednesday. Finally, we'll ramp up those games a little bit. Till then, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NBA streets on Tuesday.